What if everything you thought you knew about your favorite celebrities was only half the story? Behind the fame, there are struggles, risks, and deeply personal moments that changed everything. Most people only see the headlines, not the truth behind them. This video reveals powerful journeys of transformation, identity, and courage. From shocking revelations to inspiring breakthroughs, these stories go far beyond the spotlight. And one at the end will leave you truly speechless. Scott Turner Schofield built his career not through sudden fame, but through steady, intentional progress that helped reshape transgender representation in American entertainment. As an actor, writer, and producer, he entered an industry where transgender individuals were often misunderstood, overlooked, or portrayed without depth. Rather than waiting for opportunities to appear, Scott committed himself to creating change from within, believing that authentic storytelling could shift both perception and culture. One of his most meaningful breakthroughs came with his recurring role on The Bold and the Beautiful, where he became one of the first openly transgender actors to hold a continuing role on daytime television. It wasn't a moment driven by major headlines, but its impact was undeniable. His presence helped normalize transgender representation in everyday narratives, showing that these stories belong in mainstream media, not just on the margins. Behind the scenes, Scott Turner Schofield continued to advocate for more accurate and respectful portrayals. He challenged outdated assumptions and worked to open doors for others who had long been excluded. His journey required patience, especially in an industry slow to evolve, but he remained focused on long-term progress rather than quick recognition. Even as visibility increased, Scott faced ongoing challenges, including stereotypes and the pressure of being seen as a symbol instead of an individual. Still, he stayed grounded, choosing integrity over attention. In recent years, he has continued contributing to projects that emphasize inclusion and authenticity. Today, Scott Turner Schofield represents a quiet but lasting transformation, proving that real change is often built through consistency, resilience, and a deep commitment to truth. LEAT emerged as one of the most influential figures in global fashion, not by seeking attention, but by quietly redefining what beauty could represent. Born in Brazil and rising to international prominence through her collaboration with Riccardo Tisci at Givenchy, she stepped into an industry built on image, perfection, and rigid standards. Yet her journey extended far beyond the runway. Long before recognition, Leah faced the deeply personal challenge of navigating a world that often celebrates outward appearance while rejecting authentic identity. That contrast shaped her strength and gave her story a depth that resonated with audiences worldwide. Her defining moment came when she openly embraced her identity as a transgender woman at the highest levels of fashion. In doing so, Leah T did more than succeed as a model. She became a turning point in an industry long known for its narrow definitions of beauty. Her presence helped expand those definitions, offering a more inclusive and human vision. However, visibility came with its own cost. Alongside admiration, she faced scrutiny, expectations, and the constant pressure of representing more than just herself. Despite these challenges, Leah carried herself with remarkable grace, confidence, and quiet resilience. Rather than being defined by controversy, she chose to lead through authenticity and dignity. Over the years, she has continued to use her platform to advocate for self-acceptance, inclusion, and respect, becoming a role model for many beyond the fashion world. Today, Leah T stands not only as a successful model, but as a cultural force whose influence reaches across generations. Her journey proves that true beauty is not about fitting into expectations, but about having the courage to live honestly, fully, and unapologetically as who you truly are. Laverne Cox became one of the most recognizable transgender actresses in modern Hollywood, but her journey to that level of visibility was anything but easy. For many audiences, her breakout role as Sophia Bursette on Orange is the New Black was their first time seeing a transgender woman portrayed with humor, depth, and real humanity. That performance didn't just bring her fame, it shifted perception. It showed millions of viewers that transgender lives are complex, emotional, and deserving of respect. Long before red carpets and award nominations, Laverne Cox faced significant challenges growing up. She has spoken openly about experiencing bullying, rejection, and the pressure of trying to fit into a world that often refused to understand her identity. There were moments of loneliness and self-doubt, shaped by a society that placed limits on who she was allowed to be. But even through those struggles, she held on to a belief that her story mattered. Her rise to prominence marked more than personal success, it became a cultural turning point. As her visibility grew, so did the responsibility placed on her shoulders. Laverne was no longer just an actress. She became a voice for a community that had long been overlooked. She used that platform to speak about issues of gender identity, race, beauty, and equality, always encouraging others to live authentically and without apology. In recent years, Laverne Cox has continued to expand her influence, working as a producer, advocate, and public speaker while pushing for broader representation in media. She remains a powerful symbol of change, proving that visibility can transform understanding. Her journey reflects both grace and strength, showing that true courage lies in embracing who you are, even when the world tries to define you differently. Jen Richards has become one of the most influential voices in Hollywood's evolving conversation about transgender representation, not by simply seeking visibility, but by demanding that visibility be grounded in truth and dignity. As an actress, writer, and producer, she entered an industry where transgender characters were often reduced to stereotypes used as punchlines, tragic figures, or shallow narratives that lacked real humanity. From the very beginning, Jen refused to accept those limitations. She wasn't interested in being included under existing rules, she set out to challenge and rewrite them. Her breakthrough came with projects like Her Story, where audiences finally saw transgender characters portrayed as intelligent, complex, and deeply human. That moment marked more than a creative success, it was a cultural shift. Through her work, Jen Richards helped replace outdated portrayals with authentic stories rooted in lived experience. But that kind of change did not come easily. She faced limited opportunities, industry bias, and the constant pressure of having to explain her identity before being allowed to simply exist as an artist. Despite these challenges, Jen remained persistent. She continued writing, acting, and advocating for better storytelling, pushing Hollywood to move beyond surface-level representation. In recent years, her influence has only grown, with more inclusive narratives becoming part of mainstream media, a shift she helped make possible. Today, Jen Richards stands as more than a performer. She represents a turning point in how stories are told, proving that authenticity has the power to transform not just characters on screen, but the way audiences understand real lives. Her journey is a testament to courage, creativity, and the belief that everyone deserves to see themselves reflected with honesty, depth, and respect. Haley Sahar rose to wider recognition through her role as Lulu Ferocity on Pose, a groundbreaking series that brought ballroom culture, queer history, and transgender lives into the mainstream with style and emotional depth. On screen, she embodies elegance, confidence, and a quiet strength that feels effortless. But behind that presence is a journey shaped by real hardship. Long before success, Haley faced rejection, instability, and the daily challenge of maintaining dignity in spaces that often lacked understanding or compassion. Those experiences could have broken her, but instead they became the foundation of her resilience. They shaped the authenticity she brings to every role, allowing her performances to feel deeply real and emotionally grounded. When Pose debuted, it marked a major turning point, not just for her career, but for television as a whole. The show gave transgender women visibility in a way that was layered, human, and powerful. Through it, Hailey Sahar became part of a cultural shift that changed how these stories were seen and valued. With that visibility came pressure. She faced expectations, stereotypes, and the weight of representing more than just herself. Still, she remained focused, choosing honesty over performance and strength over fear. In recent years, Hailey has continued to grow as both an artist and an advocate, using her voice to support greater inclusion and understanding. Today, Hailey Sahar represents more than success. She stands for resilience, truth, and the kind of courage that transforms struggle into something meaningful and lasting. Tommy Dorfman first gained widespread recognition through the hit series 13 Reasons Why, where her performance quickly made her one of the most talked-about young actors in Hollywood. From the outside, everything seemed to fall into place: success, visibility, and a public image that aligned perfectly with industry expectations. But beneath that rising fame was a far more personal and complex journey, shaped by self-discovery and the quiet struggle of not fully being seen for who she truly was. For years, Tommy lived with that internal tension while continuing to build her career. She appeared confident and composed in public, yet privately felt a disconnect between her outward identity and her inner truth. That experience remained largely invisible to the world, hidden behind the polished surface of success. Then came a defining turning point that would reshape her life and how audiences understood her story. When Tommy Dorfman publicly embraced her identity as a transgender woman, it became clear that this was not about reinvention, but about alignment. She chose to live openly and honestly, allowing her external life to reflect what she had long known within herself. That decision resonated deeply because it felt real, vulnerable, and undeniably human. Of course, living that truth in the public eye brought new challenges. She faced scrutiny, expectations, and misunderstanding, all while protecting something deeply personal. Still, she moved forward with calm strength and clarity. In recent years, Tommy has expanded her work into writing and directing, continuing to tell more nuanced stories. Today, Tommy Dorfman represents a quiet but powerful form of courage, rooted in authenticity, growth, and the freedom to finally be seen. Gabby Tuft first became known to audiences as Tyler Rex in WWE, a powerful and physically imposing performer who embodied a hyper-masculine image that seemed larger than life. To fans, she appeared confident, dominant, and completely at ease in that role. But behind the strength and success was a deeply personal struggle that remained hidden for years. Gabby has spoken openly about the disconnect between the identity the world saw and the truth she carried inside, a tension that quietly grew over time. Despite achieving recognition in professional wrestling, that internal conflict never faded. It remained beneath the surface, even as her public image continued to project certainty and control. Then, in 2021, everything changed. When Gabby Tuft publicly came out as a transgender woman, it marked a defining turning point in her life. The reaction was immediate, as many were surprised by the contrast between who they thought they knew and the person she revealed herself to be. What made that moment powerful was not just the transformation, but the honesty behind it. Stepping away from an identity that had defined her career required immense courage. She faced scrutiny, misunderstanding, and the challenge of rebuilding her life in the public eye. Yet she chose authenticity over comfort and truth over expectation. In recent years, Gabby Tuft has embraced her new path as a speaker, fitness coach, and advocate for self-acceptance. She uses her voice to inspire others to live honestly, reminding people that real strength comes from embracing who you truly are. These stories remind us that transformation is never just about appearance. It's about truth, courage, and the strength to live authentically. Each journey we've seen today reflects a powerful shift, not only in individual lives, but in how society understands identity, beauty, and acceptance. Behind every headline is a human story worth hearing. If any of these journeys inspired you, take a moment to reflect on what it means to truly be yourself. Don't forget to like this video, share it with someone who needs to see it, and subscribe to the channel for more powerful stories like this. And most importantly, drop a comment below whose story impacted you the most and why.